Why are you dressed like this?
Well, it came to me as a vision, and around the time they was building the museum in Washington D.C., African American Museum, and it just said that it wasn't going to be right, and it wasn't. It did not identify the injury of our people, the atrocities, the harm that happened to our people. And so when I visited the museum, I visited the first time I visited, I was outside when they opened it. And the second time I went there with my sons, and I tried to get in the museum. At first they denied me. And I said, why would you deny me? And and this was I kept having these weird dreams. And this what happened. And so I just did what was in the dream, and this is what came out. I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know why, but this is what happened.
Where did you get the chains?
Um, these was given to me by a white man. He died, and his name is Mr. Brown. I promised never to give his name while he was living. And so he gave me a punishment collar. The punishment collar weighs about 50 pounds.
You put it around the neck.
It's big. It had prongs on it, and it keeps you from running. When you run, you go through the woods, and it would hang onto trees, branches, and it would stop you. And the dogs and the people would be able to catch you.
Because it's a collar, but it has arms pointing out, preventing you.
About 4 feet long.
Where did Mr. Brown get those chains from?
Well, Mr. Brown, he worked in metal.
Okay.
And he said he didn't want anybody to know that he would help participate in reenacting any kind of memorabilia from slavery, because it would hurt his business.
How heavy is this stuff?
All this right here together is about 55 pounds.
It's really heavy.
Yeah.
And our people were basically chained like this.
Yes, it was changed all over the world, actually. Anywhere that slavery went, that's how it was chained. Some earned some privileges, but the mass majority of the slaves was punished with chains, whips, dogs, sexual misconduct, things like that, even murder. So when I started doing this, it came like small pieces at a time, and so I just kept chipping away at it, and then that's how I got this.
What's the reaction to you dressed like this? Because I must imagine that how does it work? You dress up like this and you stand where?
Well, I go into open places to bring awareness to the people of all races, to let them know, like, this should never ever happen again. It won't happen again if we all become unified, like ancestor Dr. Nkrumah. If we do what he say, we will be a better people around the world, because we don't have to lift any weapons. We just got to use our smart. And that would be denying our ancestor enemy access to the things that they are taking away from us now.
What's the reaction when you go through immigration or customs in the airport and they see this in your bag? What do they say?
Well, the TSA in America normally puts a card in my bag, let me know that, because my bag is heavy. They normally put a card in the bag, and I was denied the right to come here the last time. I was trying to come here in 2019. Um, my brother Ben invited me here, and they wouldn't allow me to get on a plane. They still have not refunded my ticket, and so the I was really wanting to come here. I wanted to meet the president. I wanted to meet the king. I wanted to meet the people, and they denied me that fact.
But you're here today.
I'm here, and and I only can think this is a miracle.
What does slavery mean to you, and what does Ghana mean to you?
Well, slavery means a lot to me. My grandmother, great grandmother, her mother lived to be 117 years old in America, and I ate a slave person's food.
What was it like?
She cooked. She only cooked two meats. She ate pigeon and she ate rabbit. And she was 117 years old when she died.
Did she tell you? Did she tell you of her memories of
Yeah,
where she came from, things like that?
she told me all about the injuries of our people. The great grandmother that raised me, white man called her over to the car. She was walking with her husband, and come here, woman. What you doing walking with that nigger? And when he realized that she wasn't white, she was mulatto, he flicked a cigarette into her breast, and it burnt about right here. And my youngest son, Ishmael, we call him Izzy, he has a mark right here. And so I, it makes me emotional because, you know, I'm sort of big. I want to be physical sometimes.
Did you fight a lot when you were younger?
Um, no, actually, I was bullied when I was younger. I got locked up when I was 8 years old in America for defending myself.
In the prison?
Yes, sir.
At 8?
At 8.
For how long?
I stayed there for 2 years
In prison?
in prison.
What was that like?
It was other kids that were like my age in North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, and I just didn't think that it was. I didn't think it was right then, and it's not right now for child labor, for children to be punished in a harsh manner. And I was one of those children. We talked about it in the United Nations. I'm a member of the permanent form of African descent,
Mm-hmm.
and we go around the world talking about human atrocities and human rights. And so I was in Switzerland a couple months ago.
Okay. 2 years from 8 to 10 in prison.
Yes, sir. And
What gave you hope that you would come out?
well, I was a kid. I didn't think about hope. I was a kid. I miss my family. I miss my family a lot, and I think it shaped it kept me from learning. I didn't want to learn. I didn't want to know nothing about England. I didn't want to know nothing about. As a kid, when they say you got to learn your English, as a kid, I thought that was England.
You didn't want nothing to do with England.
I didn't want nothing to do with England. I didn't want nothing to do with education.
So what changed?
Well, what changed was, for a long time, I was illiterate. My mother and father migrated in the Great Migration, almost bankrupted the South, like, for the second time. And that migration was to, because they wanted to be paid for their labor. and they was cheating them out of their labor because it was Jim Crow.
So slavery hadn't ended.
Slavery
It
haven't
was still
ended.
free
Right.
labor.
Actually, if you really look at it, slavery didn't end. I was born in slavery in 1960. And so technically, slavery didn't end until 1964 because of Jim Crow.
Which is just 60 years ago from now.
Yeah. And so when you're dealing with the Civil War, with Lincoln never freed nobody for real. You know, they make Lincoln as out to be a hero. He's not. He gave one of his famous speeches was, if I can win this war without freeing a slave, I wouldn't. And if I can win this war with freeing some, I would. And he said, if I had the option to give the power to one group or another, I'm always going to give it to the white group. So the white will always be in power. And he said he would at least give that power for 150 years. So you can imagine technically when he said that, that was in 1863,
Yeah.
I think. 1863,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
161 years ago.
Yeah. So it happened, it continued. His dream continued 100 plus years after that, because I was born in 1960.
So I'm just curious about how the people what's it like to be a black person in America now, and what black people in America think of black people in Africa.
Well, sad to say, a lot of black people still sleep. They the journey of trying to get here a year ago, everybody told me not to come.
What did they tell you about Africa or Ghana?
They were telling me you're gonna get diseases, you're gonna. They now don't have no modern facilities. The food is not. They eat people. Yeah.
Black people think that we eat people here in Ghana, in Africa.
They even tease
Wow.
other Africans sometimes with sounds that is,
Like monkey sounds?
you know, stuff like that.
Wow.
My job, which I have 33 years in, working in the Department of Mental Health. I saw a lot of different. I also saw a little bit of something from Africa too. You know, I saw like the prejudice where the missionaries had told the Africans that we were the most violent thing on the planet. So when you get here, you don't socialize with them.
Yeah.
And
So a lot of brainwashing.
yeah, on
But
both
here,
sides.
and on this side too, there's a lot of, okay, America is the land of milk and honey.
No.
You're going to make a lot of money if you live here. People want to go to America and live out their dreams.
They
So
work.
that's what's happening here.
Oh, you can make the money. You can definitely make the money, but you're gonna work yourself to death, and the money is there, but the cost. You know, the cost is and the brothers I can see in the young children eyes when I was in the Sahel. I can see the encouragement. You know, they're aggressive. Not aggressive in a mean way, but they will work. I know that if those children had the opportunities that the children in America have, they probably would rule the world in no time. Because
They're prepared to work.
they're prepared. They're prepared for hardships. And my son is privileged, and we're here to play basketball here in Ghana We have an African festival starting tomorrow,
Okay.
and we're bringing NBA basketball to Ghana.
Sounds like to be interesting.
Yeah,
Just to give a picture of what you do when you do the reenactments, we're going to show some photos up there, and then you can just talk me through some of
yeah,
the photos
yes,
that we're going to show. So this is on this picture.
yes, sir.
Yes. So this is where.
That is at that right there is in that was a shipping dock
Okay.
in Annapolis.
Okay. So the punishment collar you were talking about, that's it.
That's it.
So they basically put this around your neck, and then you have the spokes coming out,
Yeah.
and you really can't run through a forest with this.
That shipping dock brought many slaves from this country.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all heard of Kunta Kinte.
Yes.
He came from Gambia.
Yes. Roots.
So he came in on that dock right there. And so
And this
they
is-
do
this
a
is which
festival.
town? Which town is this?
That's Annapolis, Maryland.
Annapolis. Okay.
And we do a honor to him every September.
Okay. So this is Nat Turner's insurrection.
Yeah.
So Nat Turner was trying to be free, and he got found out and killed, basically.
Yeah, they mutilated him actually Nat got one of his compadres, one of his friends went and told the master what was happening. And they caught him. If this guy wouldn't have turned on him, that's what I mean about mental slavery. We still there. We still have brothers right here in modern day 2024 that would do something to brothers right here to say, hey, and give their information to the white man to injure us.
Betray them, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went to that side. Yeah.
And so the Nat Turner was a great guy. This is my friend here. He's going through a major court case right now. This is the United States Supreme Court. He won the lottery for $340 million.
340 plus 6 zeros.
Yeah,
Did he get the money?
no.
Why not?
They told him that he was not the winner. They told him to throw the ticket in the trash.
What?
Yeah, his name is John Cheeks.
So he's trying to get his money.
And we also wrote the Recovery Act for reparations for the DMV, which is, the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. And we wrote and tried to get it on the ballot. And of course, like I said, our people denied us the right to fight legally on the ballot for reparations.
What keeps you going? Because this is heavy stuff.
I
I
mean,
it's not just physically heavy, but it must be emotionally heavy.
yeah, sometimes, most of the time I can't talk to people about it.
Yeah. I mean, you went to Cape Coast.
Yeah.
What was that like, going through the dungeons, slave dungeons?
Well, I didn't want to go the traditional way, come in and go through the dungeon and door of no return. I came through the back door and to say I'm bringing my ancestors back home. And that's me.
So this is the back door.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as you can see, the shirt that I have on, I'll wear it even though I have to be careful when I wear it, because if I'm going to a restaurant and the restaurant owned by white people, I don't know what they're going to do to my food. So my food and everything is I'm very particular. So I have to be very cautious about, it says, do not trust my ancestor enemy.
What went through your heart or your mind, your body, your soul, when you went through Cape Coast?
It was painful because of my grandma. My grandma, she went to a lot of stuff. And she got, she got me to this point. She never told me that I could. I even had relatives to tell me that I could but she always told me that I could. So if any little children see this video, you can. And I love you, and this is why I'm here.
I'm sure she's smiling
Alhamdulillah.
because you made it back home.
Yes.
It's all right.
Okay.
Yes. Everything is going to be all right. What's your message for the people?
Well,
You got the snap. You're home.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The message for the people is that the place that I stay, and those of you who've been to large cities in the United States, sometimes you're coming over a horizon and you'll see all the lights. And my hotel is on the ocean. I can see the ocean. And when we first got there, we didn't know what the lights was. And I said, wow, that's a nice city. And so we start seeing those lights disappear as we sit out on the balcony. And I said, oh, I got it. And then I asked some, not native, please forgive me, not native. I asked some of the locals, what was going on. And they told me that it was shipping. And they went, it looked like a city at night leaving Ghana. And I'm quite sure that the materials, the human materials that left Ghana and the other parts of Africa was not reciprocated, because we know that because of slavery. And I believe, based on what my vision have seen and what I have felt in the people, I love the people. I love the Ghanaian people. I'm home. But what I see is that I believe that the government can do more for our people, for my people here in Ghana. We cannot betray our people, continue to betray our people for white folks' garbage. You know, I believe if all of us in this room stand together and on one accord and not allow anyone to break our concentration, we could rule anything that we want to rule.
Amen. And how long are you in town? And when you're done, what message are you taking back to the U.S.?
What I'm taking back to the U.S. is that, well, I mean, working in the United Nations, I believe that not only all the wealth that Africa has, why don't Africa has a veto vote? I believe that Africa should at least have at least 6 veto votes. And I believe that the diaspora should have, because we have South America, we have the United States, and we have the Caribbean, and we have Europe. They have 5 vetoes in the United Nations, which would be, I can't remember those jokers, United Snakes of America, France, who's stealing money, $500 billion from the African diaspora, and those white Europeans are sitting there knowing that they're committing atrocities by taking that money from the people of the Sahel. And they try to get the ECOWAS to cause a war. And I was saying in the States, was like, if they start that war, the Europeans would go back door and destroy Nigeria.
Niger.
No, Nigeria,
Nigeria.
because the president, he would be the initiator, and the people would say, you know, oh well, you know, you're doing this, you know how to do it, and so I believe that I'm so glad that they didn't, because that would have hurt all the people in the Sahel.
Indeed.
And so I just I'm a student of Africa. At first, like I said, I was illiterate, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about Africa. I want to be African. I want to be the darkest African. I want to be the most blackest African. I want to be the most proud African, and I am. I am. And so I'm not just, when I go back to the States, I'm just going to tell them, you got to come home, and we got to find a way to get all our brothers and sisters back home.
And for those who were afraid for you coming here and said all kinds of negative stuff, what's your message for them?
I'm going to tell you this, you better come home. You better come home, your people's beautiful. Don't worry about the amenities. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a little something off and a little bit of something on. You know, because people got the Benzes and they got this and they got the bling, they got that. You know, we just got to make sure that we don't let the Europeans take it out of here, and then we can do whatever we want to do. I done seen some nice houses. I done seen some huts, but also seen some huts in Alabama. You know what I mean?
Yes, everything goes.
Put it like this. I'm 63 years old and I'm scared to go to Mississippi. Mississippi. And when they built the slave museum in Alabama, now mind you, I done been in war zones.